finger position that's going to be working best. So I'm going to start my shape. Fingertips out, knuckles in, 45 degrees down, and we're going to start our first guideline. Also, what's really important here is always knowing your client or your model's hairline, because the hairline on these haircuts is extremely important because you never know where the hairline is going to jump or move around. So sometimes it's best to go a little bit longer and then work your way in. Next section, into my previous section. I'm letting the comb do most of the work for me. I'm not struggling with this. Again, fingertips up, knuckles in tight, aiming for the neck. Into my previous one more time. So this is my second section, going into fingertips up, knuckles down. My third section going into my second. Working nice and neat. Now, this is an important key note. When you're starting to pivot around, what happens lots of times, especially it happens in a class all the time, is you really want to keep your finger position vertical. You don't want to start to pivot around your finger position. Because what starts to happen, if you start to go more horizontal, you start to crush your graduation in the back, and then you start to work away from the neck, which will create a hole. So what you really want to do is always to be aiming for the side of the neck. So you can see I'm coming in tighter towards the neck, which will line me up to be one length. Last section, staying locked into that 45 degrees. And you can see our graduation from back to front to start to form. The whole idea is to create lots of movement and swing through the shape. Working my transition from the top of the ear, picking up my graduation from the back, and always aiming for the neck and creating my line at the same time. So what we're doing is we're creating the line at the same time we're creating our graduation. Now we're going to be working from the back all the way across over the top of the ear. This is an important key note. We're going to be working over the ear. You're not going to work all the way up and comb the hair down. It works all the way and it flows through the front. It actually mirrors your outline shape. Important key factor is working over the ear. Comb the hair down. Keep the hair relaxed. And what you want to do is you want to tap above the ear so you really release that tension and pressure. And then you can use your comb as a guide and you continue that line, angled down. Make sure that the tips of the blades are always facing down. So you continue that outline shape from working from back to front. Important to really set yourself up. Make sure that your sectioning mirrors your back to front graduation. Working over that important ear area. Again, tap above, loosen that hair up. Get your comb to create your line. Tap, 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 and aim, making sure that the blades are always angled down so you create that line. Now I'm going to be working on the opposite side, and it's really important. What you need to do is to start in the exact same place you started before. So I'm going to take my section right by the occipital bone, come down a bit lower, just in the same position where we started. And again, now on this side, if you're right-handed, what you're going to be doing is your fingertips are going to be down, your knuckles are going to be up. Catching your guideline from the opposite side, and again, your fingers and your fingertips are your aiming system. And we're going to continue that pivot while we keep our fingers in a vertical position. Catching our guideline from the opposite side, working nice and neat with thin sections. And we're off, cutting our graduated shape from back to front on the right side. Always use the other side as a reference to where you're aiming towards. Now I'm going to be working through the right side. You can see I'm taking the same sectioning as I did on the opposite side, working below the crown, straight through the temple area, which is a key factor point, is to make sure that your line is going to focus on your outline, which is working your graduation from back to front. Picking up my graduation from the opposite side, catching my guideline, and notice how my fingers right here are horizontal. What we want to do is just pivot them slightly so we're working and starting to aim to create our line and our graduation. Now we're going to be working on that very important tap above the ear to release that pressure. Otherwise, you're going to wind up creating a hole by the ear and you're going to wind up ruining your line. So what we really want to do is make sure that you wind up tap, release pressure, and we're going to continue that line towards the front, aiming down, keeping the scissors blades actually always down so you don't make your line too short in the front. Going to work my outline shape in. This is actually one of my most fun parts because you see the whole shape come together. Now I'm going to work from the opposite side, but sometimes what you need to do is work with the tips of your scissors coming back. So use your comb as a tool. I'm just going to start. Work it right into your opposite side. Now I'm going to show you one of my favorite tricks. I love cutting square fringes, and we're going to cut this whole fringe from the profile. So when we work from the profile, you can see exactly how far and how deep to go. So slide your scissor under first, then close your blade, slide your scissor under, close your blade, and you'll make a really nice, clean line, and you'll know how far and deep to go back. I usually like to come back, say, a ½ inch to an inch behind the eye socket because I think it really opens up the cheekbones. Next section, and you're just going to comb this straight down, working from the profile, away from the hair, working to the natural fall. Now I'm going to show you a trick for the ones that are a little faint-hearted when it comes to working around the eye. You can take your scissor, slide your scissor underneath the hair, then you can place your comb underneath and get a nice flat shape. Now you're working away from the eye, very little tension, and you can still get a nice clean shape. And now you can see we developed one side of our fringe, which is really nice and square, and opening up the cheekbone. I've completed my shape, and you can see that my graduation from back to front is actually making the hair move with great swing. My fringe is complete. Now I'm going to work my products from wet to dry to finish, and you'll see the finish a little bit later when it's dry. I'm going to take one of my favorite products, Velvet Amplify. So just use a little bit and you work it through the hair. Now that my product's in the hair, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be leafing, which is going to follow the brush and the blow dryer in one motion. So working my sections through, making sure that what I'm doing is really flattening that cuticle to create lots of shine. Very important to work your graduation. What you want to do is you want to flat wrap that. Again, working with the blow dryer and the brush in unison together as one unit. You don't want to be lifting up and over-exaggerating the shape because you're not going to be able to check your haircut. Again, a nice flat wrap will do wonders. So this is my completed graduation from back to front. This is a really fun haircut to do. Also, it's a great haircut to really improve your technical skills. So I'd like to talk a little about my products that I love using. I'm going to use a little Shimmer Delight because it gives it a little bit shine. You can see there's a haircut that's really based on shine and movement. So just a couple of little sprays, and you can see we can get a really beautiful shine and get that color to really come out. So I'm just going to use a little bit Stay Essential, and I want to break the haircut up. I think you guys will, well, I'll show you what it looks like. I'll spin her around first, and you can see the shape. So the hairsprays should be flexible, especially if you like working with geometric shapes with some mild layering. And we can kind of like move that hair around. So I'd like to thank you for being here, Wellness Salon Professionals. I'm Nick Berardi. I'm signing off. I hope you really enjoyed our graduation from back to front, and I hope to see you